go to Danny's house. Did you know your friends had guns? Turn off these things. Can you tell us how you're feeling about the fact that they finally seem to be cracking this case open? They got one suspect. There's others out there.
Feels great. I wanted to get to the bottom of it and get everybody that was involved. Senseless death.
Yeah. I mean, tell us a little bit about Danny. I mean, obviously it's been a few months, but I mean, you still are feeling the pain, obviously.
Oh yeah, I can't even believe he's even gone. Somebody would do this to him. I miss him so much.
Yeah. And he seemed to be getting his life back together too after going through some tough times, and was playing again and getting around and doing stuff.
Yeah. He was getting his life back together, but he didn't deserve this.
So what do you want to happen to these people?
Justice be served. Let them lie in prison the rest of their life.
Had the police given you any information or any idea of what was behind this?
No, I haven't heard nothing. Everything I hear on the news.
They haven't filled you in on the motive or anything like that?
No, nothing.
And your name, ma'am, is?
Linda.
DeGennaro?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Can you spell Linda just so we get it right?
Linda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And is there anything else you'd like to say about this whole situation?
Not right now. It's a shock to me.
Yeah. But I assume there's some
I'd like to thank everybody for everything that they've done and the investigations that's been going on, and all the support from his friends and strangers. Strangers that contacted us.
And there must be some small satisfaction in the fact they're finally bringing people in.
Yes, it is. Because at first I thought there was going to be no hope, but it's great to hear news like this.
Yeah, great. Linda, thank you very much.
Can you spell your last name for us, please? Your last name.
DeGennaro.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He's here never going to come.
So what's your budget?
Yes.
One person
Yes. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Come here, watch it
Yeah,
in
right
front
there
of me.
you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
come in.
Yeah.
Yep, great.
But,
Good afternoon. We are here today to announce the arrest of Denasia Backer as the first of a number of defendants who will be arrested in connection with the death of Daniel DeGennaro. Let me first say that the work of the Bristol Township Police, the county detectives, and a host of law enforcement folks from the Pennsylvania State Police, Falls Township Police, the Mercer County Prosecutor's Office, the Pennsylvania Office of Attorney General, the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, the Montgomery County Detectives and District Attorney's Office, and with special thanks to Eric Olson, Heather Castellino, and Mike Alwesh of the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. Everybody worked together to make this extremely intensive investigation successful. Certainly shot my whole overtime budget for the year, but there has been a tremendous amount of hard work to bring justice for Mr. DeGennaro. The charges, as you know, for which Ms. Backer has been arrested are conspiracy to commit murder, to commit robbery, to commit burglary, and to commit the possession of weapons. And, of course, as a co-conspirator, she is also charged with all of those principal offenses. This is an ongoing investigation, and in a minute I'm going to open up the floor for questions, and I suspect that I will have fewer answers than you would wish that I would have. The identities of the 4 remaining perpetrators, and I believe you've all had a chance to review the criminal complaint. We identify each perpetrator specifically by a particular designation. We're satisfied that we know their identities. One is, apart from Ms. Backer, is already in custody, although not on these charges. 3 at this point remain uncharged. As to those 3, the men who actually entered the house at 17 Crabtree Drive and shot Daniel DeGennaro to death, we are coming. This is the time for you to come forward and address your involvement in this crime. When you hear the knock of the federal marshals on your door, it will be too late. So far as we're concerned right now, in addition to the liability of the 2 people we already have in custody as a legal matter, all 3 of you gentlemen pulled the trigger that killed Daniel DeGennaro. We're ready to hear from any of those individuals. Now is the time. But one way or another, we know who you are, and we are coming. Be happy to entertain any questions.
If you know who they are and they're a potential danger to the public, why not release their names and share that with the public?
That I don't believe would be appropriate at this time, David. It's an ongoing investigation. Potential danger to the public. This was a somewhat targeted offense. I certainly can't argue with you that someone who would pull the trigger once would not under any circumstances pull it again. But particularly because we do know who they are, I believe that for now the needs of the investigation is going to have to trump that.
Why did they go to Mr. DeGennaro's house that night?
Their intention was to rob him.
But why did they target him?
They believed, and I'm not going to get into what we believe about this, but they believed that he would have money, that he would be a fruitful target for a robbery.
Was the car in the backyard, the car that was for sale through one of the neighbors, was that how they, came upon his address and his home?
No, but that plays a role, as I believe is laid out in the affidavit of probable cause. One of the 2 young ladies made a call assuming that Mr. DeGennaro, because it was in sort of his backyard, that he was the owner of that car, or at least would respond to a call. We believe pretty firmly that this was a device to lure him outside so that he would be more accessible to their, if you will, getting the drop on him, that they would be taking less risk to themselves than entering. Obviously, they ended up talking to somebody, unbeknownst, talking to somebody across the street who wasn't having any of it, and so after they failed to lure Mr. DeGennaro out of the house, they went in.
Had they been at his house before?
I'm sorry?
Had they been to his house for a party
Don't
a few
know
days
that.
before?
Don't know that.
David, what role did she play in this, and how cooperative has she been with your investigation?
Well, the investigation's ongoing at this point. You can see from the affidavit of probable cause that she made a statement laying out her own culpability, essentially, and describing what transpired and what the other people did, or at least some of the things they did in her presence. So to that extent, she's been forthcoming. On the other hand, I'm not sure that she has fully appraised her liability in this case.
Do you believe she was aware of what was going to happen?
That's absolutely. You don't have a conspiracy, and I think you will find in the affidavit, and I'm going to restrict myself to that. Try to do a little mental juggling as to what overall I understand from the investigation, and we see Matt Weintraub back there. He from our office has really been on top of this with a terrific team of investigators. They know more detail, but I think you will find in the affidavit a reference to one of the so far unnamed co-conspirators saying we were going to get some money, and she understood that that was the purpose of making this trip from Trenton, that the other folks got aboard, and that particular term had significance beyond you or me saying we're going down to the Mac machine.
Is she going to be tried as an adult?
She, at this juncture, murder, she's just a little bit shy of 18, and murder is an adult crime in any event.
So she will be.
Well, again, the investigation's forthcoming. There, I suppose, is one conceivable option would be to deal with her as a juvenile, but that would have to be as a part of an overall resolution of this case, let's say. I won't absolutely rule it out, but
Most likely as an adult?
the investigation's ongoing.
Is that a possible consideration? She's being offered for cooperation, that she'll be handled as a juvenile?
Not at this juncture. We need to have effective discussions with her counsel, and hopefully that will be forthcoming.
You're hoping she cooperates, and since she may have been just a getaway driver, not the actual trigger person, you're hoping that maybe she'll be able to provide you with information that's useful in the case?
Well, she already has. We hope that she'll continue to be forthcoming, and ultimately, obviously, be a witness. But we have a whole bunch of circumstantial evidence here. As I say, that's exactly what I'm saying to the other. I can't realistically expect that the trigger man's going to present himself, but he, might save himself some wear and tear if he did. But certainly, the others who are not yet in custody would be wise to do so.
Well, 2 people fired guns, apparently, right? One missed, but there were 2 triggermen.
That would be accurate, but shooting somebody in the chest with a shotgun, where I come from, that's dead serious. There's just no alternative outcome. You are choosing to take away that person's life then and there, no ifs, ands, or buts. The other was a shot fired, didn't strike Mr. DeGennaro, ended up lodged in the woodwork. What exactly was going through that gentleman's mind is something, again, we hope to deal with in the investigation.
Dave, do you believe it's gang related? Get that in for you.
The investigation's ongoing.
Are these men threatened?
Some.
Dave, what accounts for the delay between the murder and the arrest?
A whale of great police work. Let me tell you, my history in the office goes back to the 70s. One of the things that we've been trying to do with the limited resources we have is get back into some of the cold case files. I will guarantee you, if this were 1973, let's say, and the same crime happened, and it, good, maybe some did, same crime happened, this would be a cold case. I do not believe that the tools, and it wouldn't be for lack of the same effort, caring, concentration, I don't believe that the tools existed then which would have enabled us to get to these people. There was no apparent connection between these people. This isn't one where, well, you look at the husband or the wife, you look at the brother or sister or whoever. This was just from out of left field, and because of some terrific police work and some heads-up cooperation from the neighbor across the street who remembered and felt that this call that he received was suspicious. That's how we come to be at this point today. We're still in the process of investigating. We'd have kept doing it, and I'd have kept running up overtime bills if it had taken another 5 months. Happily, we got to this position at this time, but we're darn lucky to be here, and we'll keep working on it, putting whatever it needs until we have one more press conference, and hopefully one more, and announce that you've had the perp walk on all of the rest of these folks.
Dave, have you recovered any of the weapons involved?
Investigation's ongoing.
Is that a yes or no?
That's an investigation's ongoing. As I say, I'm not here. We had to do this the way we're doing it because that was the requirement of the investigation. I would much rather be coming to you, helping you write the novel, with all of the stuff, soup to nuts. Can't do that. And one of the things that I'm going to try as hard as I can when I walk away from this podium, I'm not going to have done anything to harm the investigation or to give the folks who are out there in the wind any kind of leg up. So, can't tell you.
Okay, the 4 suspects that are still out there, do you believe they are still in the Trenton area? Is that their home base? Are they from the Trenton area?
One more is in custody
Okay.
on unrelated charges and not going anywhere. So we've got 3 in the wind, and they're between the lower part of Bucks County and across the river is where one would generally find them.
Morrisville, Trenton.
Yep.
Was the
Yes,
car
sir.
was the car Mr. DeGennaro's or Mr. Nichols?
I believe the car belonged to the neighbor. So Mr. DeGennaro was just being a terrific guy, which from everything we've heard from an awful lot of sources who he was. He's, of course, for those of you who are not immediately familiar with the area, this is Mr. DeGennaro's residence was in one of the sections of Levittown. They were laid out by the Levitts to sort of be on a model. You had smaller residential streets with the actually face of the houses facing on very small residential streets, which would hopefully not have a lot of traffic. And then the various sections were divided by so-called parkways. It happened that Mr. DeGennaro's house, the backyard, faced one of the parkways. So it was a logical place if you were going to sell a car to park it out there, because you'd have a lot of traffic on the parkway, whereas of course you wouldn't want to park it in anybody's front yard, and there wouldn't be that many people going up and down the street. I believe it's Crabtree Drive. So he was nice enough to let his neighbor put the car in essentially his backyard out on the parkway, because that's where it would be seen by the most people. There was no reason for him to believe he'd have any interaction with the car. The fella had, had the standard sign, so many dollars, and a phone number. And these folks called the phone number, but they made, in this case, the unwarranted assumption that they were reaching somebody in the house where the car was parked.
So he wasn't specifically the target. It was more the mistaken.
No, he was the target. His house was the target. The doers believed that they would find money there, that he would have money, could be forced to produce money. But they made a wrong assumption, not an unreasonable one, but it happened wrong, that by calling the number on this little placard in the car, the phone would be ringing in the DeGennaro residence, when in fact it was ringing across the street.
And that was the key that broke the case open for you?
Yep. Tracking back to those numbers and then going from there is what, and then, as you might imagine, a tremendous amount of work. And we'll get into the nature of that work in other affidavits of probable cause, maybe, or a trial. But a ton of people work very, very hard round the clock in order to get the information that we have and get the identities of the other people.